W.F. House presents an unabridged recording of Direct Descendant by Tanya Huff, narrated by Kiana Wu and Bridget Lappin. 1. Cassie. The path from the lake to the lookout was steeper than I remembered, and more overgrown than I'd anticipated, but that extra half-hour of sleep had left me no other options. Slapping pre-dawn mosquitoes and squinting up at steeply angled chunks of the Canadian Shield, I reluctantly admitted it might not have been the best idea to have taken advantage of having a solo and therefore unsupervised responsibility. Nothing to do now but gird my loins and climb. I clutched at a protruding root and hauled my ass another meter up the path, while buckthorn snagged my clothes and dug painful lines into my skin. Paused my upward progress to rip my hair free. Paused it again to yank my foot out from between two rocks. A little more light would have helped, but the whole point of the exercise was to beat the midsummer sunrise to the top of the hill. One foot, hand, elbow, and other assorted body parts in front of the other, I kept climbing. I was not going to fail, not when the other three had finally begun to take me seriously. Of course, not failing would have been easier had I not decided to sleep in. Contradictions are us. Well, me. The sky had lightened, but the sun hadn't quite risen above the horizon when I heaved myself up onto the top of the cliff. Before I could either congratulate myself or catch my breath, I realized I wasn't alone. There was a stranger already standing on the lookout. No, not on the lookout. That would imply he stood on the rock that bulged out over the lake. He was standing on the dead ground, the misshapen circle of dirt between the rock and the trees where Charlie had died back in the 1920s, where nothing grew. Not only was he standing on the dead ground, he was standing in the center of the dead ground, wearing a sheet and holding a knife, and that never ended well. Sweat stinging in a multitude of acquired scratches, I staggered forward and bounced off an invisible barrier. Hard enough, my face print hovered in the air for a moment as I stumbled back. The stranger smiled at me over a scruffy blonde hipster beard, a smug, I've got a secret smile that made me want to kick him off the cliff and into the lake. Close to a foot taller than my 5 feet 5 inches, he was wiry rather than skinny, and I could see a lot of wiry given the way he draped the sheet. He had enough muscle that even without the barrier, I wouldn't have been able to physically move him if he didn't want to be moved. If he thought I was going to let him make me look like an idiot, he could think again. I also had a secret. As I opened my mouth, 3 things happened. 1, the sun rose. 2, the stranger dropped to one knee and slammed the knife through his right foot into the ground. And 3...
Sample complete. Ready to continue?